Hey y'all, welcome back to North American Welding and Fabrication. I'm John McDuffie, and as you can see behind me, my sidekick, welding rig, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Weldibeast. She's injured, and for some reason my security team has decided to alert me that somebody's here. Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my chief of security and his 3 sidekicks, this thing, obviously 6.7 Cummins, I got a fan clutch that's making a squealing racket for the 2nd time since I've owned this truck. So I'm waiting on that to come in, should be here tomorrow. But today, being that it needs an oil change anyways, I'm gonna go on ahead and change the engine oil, put a new filter on it, and also it's got the wrong coolant in it because diesel stupidity. They can't just make one coolant that fits everything. They got to make it, oh, you got a diesel, you got to have this. Oh, you got a new model Chevy, you got to have this. No, just make it all green, be done with it. Anyways, can't run the green stuff in this because there's a condition called cavitation. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not good for the engine. So I gotta swap out the coolant, change the engine oil. The other problem is my oxygen and acetylene rack here. That's a 1/2 inch 13 bolt, and obviously it quit doing its job. That's why there's a ratchet strap on the side of my truck. So I got some new bolts for that, bigger bolts. Hopefully they'll live longer than the little 1/2 inch ones did. But yeah, other than that, that's what I'm playing with today. So I'm gonna go on ahead and get up under here and get started on making a mess. Well, wouldn't you know it, I forgot. Got up under here with a whole handful of wrenches because I couldn't remember the size, and sure enough, it takes an Allen or a square or some kind of witchcraft. So now I gotta go get that. Yep, square. So definitely use a ratchet extension that's got a weird shape to it, so you'll certainly round out the inside of the drain plug. Don't need to make anything easy for anybody else. I ain't got the extension that I'd like to use down here, and I'm too lazy to walk up to the shed and get one, so this is just gonna have to do. Come on, get on up under here, fat boy. Of course, my Bluetooth speaker slash phone stand ain't gonna allow me to capture any of this, so that's fine. Let's see, maybe. No, that pinion seal is fine, don't worry about it. Phone in a very precarious position, check. Let's just try not to shake the truck so much that it falls over. I hope the wind don't blow hard enough for it to fall over. But anyways, you stick your extension up in that hole like so, and then you realize that your arm's too short for both arms to grab from where you've wedged your belly between the roller creeper and the frame of the truck. Then you back up and punt. Come to this position. There it goes. Let me just go on ahead and grab my phone to keep it from falling to a very catastrophic death. I hope it's still recording sideways. It looks like it. But yeah, you just make sure the pin's under it. Don't need that mess. You just get the drain plug loose, keep some pressure on it. That way maybe you'll feel it when you lose all the threads. There we go. And only just a little bit all over my hand. So some drain plugs have a magnet. I don't believe this one has a magnet. But yeah, now we just wait 37.25 days and let that drain. Once that drains, I'll put the plug back in it and get up there and take the filter off, which is going to be another debacle. Well, what do you know? I know that right there, that's a crack. Great. $10,000 transmission with a crack in the bell housing. Thank you, Mercedes-Benz, for designing the G56. I'm about to stick a MP 435 grand a gear 4-speed in this thing and call it a day. Might already go on ahead and throw this in there. Anytime you're up under your rig, oh, I put the drain plug back in. So, yeah, anytime you're up under your rig, changing oil or chasing whatever it is you're chasing, probably not a bad idea to go on ahead and take a gander at everything, make sure everything still looks good. Like the U-joints on this front drive shaft, they're supposed to be greased every time you change the engine oil. Didn't know if anybody knew that, but yeah, that's something you're supposed to do. Being that you're going to be here greasing the U-joints, might as well shake all the drive shafts real good and check and make sure you ain't got any bad U-joints, which I've already done off camera, because obviously trying to film under here when I ain't even got room to cuss a cat without getting hair in my mouth is a bit of a challenge. But yeah, rear pinion seal is seeping a little bit, front pinion seal is seeping a little bit. Just make sure I got plenty of gear dope in them. That rear end's on its way out anyways, so whenever it finally keels over the rest of the way, I'll put another one up under here and rebuild that one. So there that'll be. But yeah, the oil pan is drained, so now I get to go up here and fight with this oil filter. See that black thing right there? Right there, the big round black thing, that's the bottom side of the oil filter. So sorry, I ain't gonna be able to show y'all me unscrewing it, but if you ain't never unscrewed an oil filter, then I feel for you. I got my crap coal roller sealer. Oh, I didn't over tighten it last time. That's nice. Wonder what Derek from Fast Grip Garage is doing today. Or Rich from the Boss Garage. Never met Rich, but I've met Derek. Derek's pretty cool. I wonder if he's changing the oil under a 6.7 Cummins too. I wonder if Rich is ever going to do a everything wrong with a 6.7 Cummins Dodge review. Well, don't even include the Dodge. I'm well aware. Zip ties and bias plies, peg, and Rich both have made it very clear how they feel about a Dodge. And honestly, I don't blame them. This is a very, very expensive shipping crate. One Wix filter out, and the gasket came with it. That's another thing. Check, make sure your O-ring, gasket, whatever you want to call it, is still on your oil filter when you pull your oil filter off. Also check the block or oil filter adapter and make sure that there's not an extra one up there for whatever reason. Weird stuff does happen. So now I just get to grab my new parts and slide back up under here and put the new filter on, and then I'm also going to drain the coolant, do a Blue Devil flush on that, and fill it back up with some Xerox G05, I think is what it is. Whatever it is, it's proper coolant for this thing, and it's made by Valvoline, and Mark Martin liked Valvoline in the 90s for a long time. They done him pretty good up until he started getting sponsored by Viagra for whatever reason. Why don't you fill the filter up with oil before you put it on? Because it's a waste of time. Engine's got an oil pump for a reason. This thing spins over enough to build oil pressure before it busts off anyways. On top of that, filling the oil filter with fresh oil is kind of a risky game anyways. If you happen to have some unknown foreign materials in your new bucket of oil or your new oil container, and you're just dumping that straight down into the filter, then chances are you're putting trash in the output side of the oil filter, which is going to make it pump straight from the oil filter right through all the bearings, and then you'll be wadding the motor out. A couple seconds for it to build oil pressure is not going to hurt it. All the internals of every engine are still coated with a little bit of oil from when it was running last. So you're not dry firing it. You bust it off, it'll fire up. You got maybe half a second, boom, oil pressure. It's not that big of a deal. I could see it on like a 60s or 70s model Buick gas burner, because they had oiling problems. People pull in for an oil change and ended up mechanic had to pull the distributor and prime the oil pump after he drained the oil out of it. But this is obviously not a 60s or 70s Buick, so it's up to you. You do whatever you want to do. You pour trash in your oil filter, I don't care. Alright, that part of the game is over with. So now I'm gonna just gently drag this weed killer, used oil, back out from under here. And let's see how hot this thing is. Oh, she's gonna cool down a good bit. Let's try this out. Leatherman. That's another thing. If you ain't toting a Leatherman Super Tool 300 or Wave or some sort of multiple use fancy folding pair of pliers, what are you even doing? There's so many uses for that. I use these things for MIG pliers. I've used them for a chipping hammer. I've done all kinds of stuff with these. They're great. Oh, yeah, I gotta safely and properly dispose of my used coolant somehow. I got an empty bucket around here somewhere. I'll find it. Alright, so while that's draining down into a bucket, I'll just go on ahead and point this out. People always say don't ever pull the drain cock all the way out of the radiator, and the reason why they say that is that little O-ring right there tends to stay in the radiator or lets you get the drain cock out of the way, and then it flies out and you lose it somewhat forever. Well, some people lose it forever, but anyways, yeah, you just be real gentle pulling your drain out and you got no troubles. Now, as far as oil goes, I'll be running Delo 15W40 fully conventional diesel engine oil. For some unknown reason, this thing takes 3 gallons. So I got a 2.5 gallon jug, because 3 gallon jugs just don't exist for whatever reason. I think I figured it out. This engine calls for 3 gallons, 12 quarts, 4 quarts in a gallon. So yeah, 12 divided by 4 is 3. Anyways, since this engine calls for 12 quarts and there's 3 gallons in 12 quarts, they sell a 2.5 gallon jug, and then they sell a 1 gallon jug. I have yet to find individual quarts. But all that being said, all that rigmarole don't really matter. Whenever you go to buy your oil, as bad as I hate to recommend them, just go to Walmart or Mallwart if you're Peg from Zip Ties. Yeah, they got the best price on all the oil. It's the same stuff you'll give O'Reilly's and all the big chain stores 5 prices for. It's just a whole lot cheaper. Drink up. Just drink all $60 worth of oil. Because a Hemi wouldn't last anywhere near as long as a Cummins. Well, it might still run with the lifters ticking, but you shouldn't be hearing lifter tick out of an engine that new. But that's a whole different debacle, ain't it? Improved valve train durability. How? Well, this stuff's supposed to be conventional, but it might be somewhat semi-synthetic or something, because it's got an abbreviation for the word synthetic on it, combined with 3 more letters that I have no idea what it means. So, oh well. But synthetic oil's better. No, it's not. Synthetic oil leaves little deposits and residues and all that all around inside every engine you put it in. Synthetic oil's a waste of money. Yeah, that was 2.5 plus 1. That would be 3.5. So I got to pour half of this in there. I got another half a jug of this laying back there somewhere. Let me go get that. Yep. 2 quarts makes a gallon, or yeah, 2 quarts makes half a gallon. There you go. So I didn't actually have to buy that extra gallon of oil. Nice try, D-Lo. I ain't gonna take it back. I'll still use it later, but next time I got to do an oil change on this pig, I can just buy the 2.5 gallon container and maybe only spend 40 bucks. Alright. Sound like the keep her cool juice has done quit flowing. So now all we got to do is finish topping off the keep her spinning juice and just, oh yeah, if you ever want the wind to blow, just start MIG welding, TIG welding, spool gun welding, or pouring oil or draining oil. Definitely gonna get a breeze, no matter what. Just like if you want it to start raining, just roll the windows down on the truck. The rain will be with you shortly. Yeah, that's drained out far enough. Keep that jug though. That jug might come in handy 20 years from now, who knows. Alright, I'll pull the funnel up out of there and then I can get on back to the rest of this rat killing. Alright, the Blue Devil jugs did not say anything at all about doing this, but I don't want the Blue Devil product interacting with the coolant that was in here and causing me some kind of unforeseen mystery problems. So I'm filling the system back up with just plain tap water, and I'm going to fire it up, run it till the thermostat opens again, and then I'm going to drain it again. And once it's drained again, then I'll put the Blue Devil stuff in it, follow that procedure, and then once I drain that procedure of stuff back out, I'll take and fill it up with the proper mix of Xerox G05 and yeah, all that. Well, now that I have managed to completely soak my driveway with water from the water hose, time to fire this thing up and run her until the thermostat opens up. First fire since I put oil in it, so here we go. Look at there. Oil pressure just jumped right up there, just like it always does. Yes, I know the check engine light's on. It's been deleted. Whoop-de-frickin-do. That thing keeps telling me to contact the dealer about an oil change. No, not happening. But while I got it running, I'm gonna do a little leak check right quick, make sure I ain't got no oil pouring out nowhere. Can't see nothing. Right in the eye. Yep. No oil running off the oil filter and no oil getting out of the drain plug, so she's good. Now I just got to run it long enough for the thermostat to open up, and then all that fresh water I just put in will be mixed with what little bit of coolant was still in the heater core over there, and I can drain that out. Then I can fill it all back up with the 2 bottles of Blue Devil. Yes, this system requires enough coolant to use 2 bottles of Blue Devil and that water mix, and go on about my day. All right, now she's up to temperature. Wow, I said that weird. Now she's up to temperature, so we'll just go on ahead and shut her down. Yeah, 270,208 miles. And now I wait. I wait because this cooling system has got a whole bunch of pressure on it. And I don't need to be opening this system up and getting scalded. It ain't no fun. So while I wait for that, might as well go on ahead and do the oil change on the air compressor and the welding machine too. Great. All right, here we go. Oil change on the Lincoln 330 MPX. Changed the oil in this particular machine about 400 times. No, more like 5. Before I realized that little door, it just slips off. Then it's out of your way. You ain't got to pull your hair out and stuff. But yeah, reason number 526,000 why I always keep old empty gallon jugs. They make a real handy drain pan for small engines. Learned that from the first boss I ever had. Well, first official working boss I ever had. My daddy was my boss before anybody else was. But yeah, worked in a lawnmower shop when I was a kid during high school. Everybody else flipping burgers at McDonald's, I was turning wrenches. Now we wait 300 years for that to drain, and that'll give me a chance to come up with some way, shape, form, or fashion of a how or another to get that to drain without getting oil all over the bed of my truck. Thank you, Hobo Freight. Oh, y'all didn't know this, but my old engine that was on my air compressor, she finally died. So I went and got one of these Predators from Hobo Freight. And yeah, it's due for an oil change too. I'm going to service it at the same time I service a welding machine. Ain't no sense in having 3 separate maintenance schedules to keep up with. Just put this engine on that engine's maintenance schedule and be done with it. Here's some free information nobody else will ever give you. I don't know how good you can see, but as I turn this air filter, I can see the daylight is shining right on through with no obstruction whatsoever. There is absolutely no reason in this world to throw this old air filter away and change it. That being said, small engine air filters generally have this deal, which is referred to as a pre-filter. Nothing wrong with it, but I see people all the time change out an air filter on a small engine and they put a pre-filter in, but they don't do a very critical step. The critical step is you soak this in oil very, very thoroughly. Don't have it dripping oil, but it needs to be wet with oil through and through all the way. Then you put it around that, then you put it all back in there and put the hat back on, and yeah, no problems. What soaking this with oil will do is it makes it where, well, you ever spill oil on the side of your truck and then drive down a dirt road? Trust me, half the dirt you just drove through is now on the side of your truck. So that makes the pre-filter very effective at grabbing oil or grabbing dirt out of the atmosphere before it goes into that filter, and that makes it that much more efficient for keeping dirt out of your engine. So I'm going to go ahead and re-soak that with oil and then put all that back together, and maybe by my next birthday that'll get done draining and we can play that game. Alright, now air filter's back together. Oil has finally finished draining, and I did not age a whole nother year, so that was good. But now we come to the second most irritating part of this process. This oil filter is laying on its side, and even though I've drained all the oil out of the engine, this filter's still got oil in it. So when you go taking it loose, of course the oil's going to run out and it's going to go down, and you got to waste half a daggone box of rags just to keep the oil from coating the whole bed of your truck, because it's going to run out of here all over the bed of the truck. Ooh, I cinched that one down just a mite too tight. Alright, should be loose enough now. Yeah, there we go. We'll just hurry up and spin this little fella off of here. My rags ain't catching it all. Hurry up, get off there. Mess not contained. Thank you, Lincoln, or Kohler, whoever's responsible for this mess. Alright, now I got to get the new oil filter and stick it on. Fun fact, this little tiny oil filter, made by Kohler for Kohler products, cost me more than the big giant Wix oil filter that I put on this 6.7 Cummins a while ago. This was like 18 bucks. That was like 10. Somebody explain that logic. Oh, I just explained it for myself. It's extra unnecessary packaging. Junk. All that trouble just for that. So now I'm gonna get some oil on my finger and put some oil on that little rubber seal and stick her on. Don't fall. Cell phones really suck for cameras, just so y'all know. You just smear it on around there. Nice and easy like. It's all nice and coated. I don't know, I might be able to get it with one hand, probably not. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you can't see me. I pulled the whole John Cena there. Alright, the gasket makes contact right there. Make sure there's no wiring in the way, because there is a little small wiring harness that runs right down through there. It's highly annoying. I'll slide that out of the way, and then, well, okay, yeah, I'm actually using the camera as a mirror, so that's good. Once the gasket makes contact, all you need is a quarter turn. That's all you need. Quarter turn. Gasket makes contact. Okay. That invisible mark right there. Hell with it. Alright, that's more than quarter turn, but it's fine. Now all I got to do is climb back down there and get my funnel, fill this thing up with oil. Alright, funnel acquired. Using Castrol GTX 10W30 conventional. Kohler makes a semi-synthetic, or no, it's synthetic blend or something like that for this particular engine. I'm not going to run that oil because for one, it's about $15 a quart where I can find it, and for two, I happen to know from personal experience that there are several Kohler engines on Miller Trailblazers that went for, if they got an oil change once a year, that was amazing with this Castrol oil. So yeah, this engine will be just fine. Let me stick it. I think this thing takes 2 quarts. Yeah, she's might low. And of course you can't see anything sitting there, so. Alright, I filled her up to 1.5 quarts. Let's just see. I didn't bother pulling the choke because I wanted to spin it over for long enough for it to build oil pressure before it hit. But yeah, it built oil pressure and then it hit, so give it like long enough. Remember, wipe your dipstick off before you re-stick it, especially if the engine just fired up. Alright, she's a little low, so yeah, she takes 2 quarts. Maybe it's the air compressor that takes 1.5 quarts. I can't remember. But it's still got the first oil that I ever put in it. So it's time for an oil change, being that that's break-in. I don't believe them engines come broken in already. Even if they were advertised to come broken in already, I wouldn't trust it because, well, hobo freight. Alright, now, put the cap back on that. Might as well go on ahead and check it again. Oh yeah, she's full. Now I get to have this debacle. Maybe. Yeah, y'all can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going for that plug right there, and I'm going to try to use that funnel and make it drain off into the pan alongside. lights are directly in my way, so that's nice. Get in there. Maybe that might work, probably not. Well, you ain't giving me much choice here. I'll just go through this direction this time. Hopefully I can aim. Some moron a long time ago planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Bradford pear trees along the side of my driveway. So, of course, my entire yard smells just awful. What in the world kind of drain plug is that? Oh, I'm completely missing my drain pan, so that's good. It's like it's some kind of a drain plug / oil filter. And then of course there's oil running down the side of my air compressor. Just hopefully put that to a stop with that rag. Probably not, because that's the way my luck goes. What in the world? Yeah, that's precisely what that is. It's a drain plug / oil filter. Uh-oh. I don't know how good this is picking up, but there be metal in that. It's not all that uncommon for a brand new engine to have a little bit of metal, but that's some pretty significant chunks. Great. Good thing I'm changing the oil. It's probably going to be a waste of money, but oh well. I'm going to run this one till it blows up too. Well, this is obviously a different day, but I'm finally getting around to editing a whole bunch of my videos and stuff. Video that you just got done watching, I'm having to make it in 2 parts because the only editing software I have is what my phone has in this folder called Gallery, and it's not the greatest editing software. It takes 14 different forevers to cut a little piece out or add a little piece out in or whatever. So I'm having to do it in 2 pieces. I hate doing 2-part videos. I don't like that whole idea that, oh, we'll stick around for part 2. No, I'm gonna get part 2 ready, and as soon as I get part 1 uploaded and I get where I can upload the second part, I'm uploading the second part too. There ain't no sense in stringing y'all out. But anyways, that was part 1, and part 2's coming.